Welcome back, everyone. We are starting with our first match. It's Requiem on the blue side and ZNGP Prime on your red side, or purple side, whichever you like the most. Actually, I've just now noticed that I do have the colorblind mode on, and that red color, that red team name is clashing a bit with the purple color of the team. It's not that big of a deal.
We have a little bit of level 1 action here. The flag dropped and some auto attacks, bringing Kale down already to half hit points. Just gonna head back to base though, not really much lost.
Oh, pause, come on. Is it a pause to just badmouth the other team? And say, hey, yeah, you got caught.
I really hope it's not like that, but something interesting that we can look at here. Maokai has biscuits. I don't think I've seen a Maokai top lane go in that deep to the utility tree before. Have you ever seen that?
No, usually it's all the way down the tank line. But biscuits, well, he is expecting a lot of harass from Nixon by then.
Yeah, that combined with the Doran's Ring start, he's gonna probably be expecting to have to use a lot of his mana to farm, to toss out those saplings and such, because not only do the biscuits show up in the utility tree, but there's a lot of mana regen in there as well. So he could very well have a lot of points spec'd mastery-wise into mana regen, helping him farm from a distance in that lane a bit better.
Could be. There's still a lot of spells that Nyx Empire could use which would charge Rising Star's passive. I'm also quite interested, well, why he didn't go the Doran Shield route. I guess he values mana regen a lot more than he values health regen. We'll see how that unfolds in top lane, and in the meantime, I guess, so we don't keep it a mystery, we'll figure out what on earth is happening with the teams.
I've also done a little bit of looking into these teams while we were in the spectator delay. It appears that Rising Star for Xenon Gaming is actually one of their favored players. He's considered one of the better players on the team by some people, and that might be one of the reasons why he's gone with the Doran's Ring start, why he's gone a little bit more damage heavy. He might be looking to try and carry.
And as we can see, Requiem is looking for an invade. I'm not sure if they have been spotted. No, they certainly have, yep.
Well, at least they spotted Orianna, but they can kind of assume that she's probably not alone in their jungle.
Absolutely. No one in their right mind will go alone into the enemy jungle. Perhaps spread out on the river on your own side. Yeah, that's one thing. But going quite deep and placing wards, there's certainly someone behind them.
Speaking of spreading out on the river, that seems to be what the teams have returned to after that sort of minor attempt at an invade got pretty much foiled.
Damn it, foiled again. Well, at least Requiem will know where Lucas Forever will be starting. It's interesting to see that despite him not needing any mana, he is starting on that blue buff. And we'll see in the end that both of the junglers will converge in that top lane. Something that we'll be certainly paying a lot of attention to, and we see that Requiem is giving a lot of help to Jaikun, I guess is his name.
Yeah, both junglers
returning.
They're just looking to be the most efficient with their health bars that they can be by starting at the buff nearest to bottom lane, where they can get the most effective leash, because it's two people down in that lane rather than one as up in top lane would be.
We see that both players in the bottom lane on both teams return without losing any CS or any XP, and Frysloth actually, I guess with the help of Rapunzel, push that lane a little bit. Relic Shield is slowly but surely pushing the lane in their favor. I'm not sure exactly how Prince of Vayne will work out for him farming under the turret, but right now he's playing really defensively. He is staying as far as he can from those hooks from Rapunzel. Great hug, and Prince of Vayne actually gets flayed. So yeah, that was doing everything right.
That was very well played by Thresh right there. He played around the shield that Janna placed, and as soon as the shield was dropped, he switched his focus so that they didn't have to break it. They just dealt damage straight to health bars rather than having to break through the shield's amount of fake health.
Ooh, the fake health. Yeah, you don't want that in the middle end. In the meantime, NJ is in a bit of trouble. 1 hit, 2 hits. Red buff is
burning. And there's the flash. The burn not going to be quite enough to bring her down after she flashes away, though.
But once again, NJ, just like at the starting minutes, gets caught just a little bit. Farm-wise is still even, 12 to 12, but it shows perhaps a weakness in the mid lane of Xenon Gaming Prime.
I think perhaps in that specific circumstance, it showed a little bit of a lack of foresight, really, because that Kayle was against a Jarvan pickup. You know that Jarvan likes to gank early. That's what he does. He flag and drags into lane, and he makes your life hell. Yet still, the Kayle pushed incredibly hard. We saw harassing under the tower using the Q and a few auto attacks. There's the hook landing on the Prince of Vayne, though, and the flame back, and he's going down very quickly. Flash and heal burned at the same time.
Yeah, well, no wonder he's staying so far behind. I don't know, it's 2 out of 2, perhaps 2 out of 3 hooks landed, and each one of them was as impactful as it can get. And now Prince of Vayne will be staying even further away. And we've seen that while Prince of Vayne is trying to farm, Pride goes really hard on him, spends all his auto attacks just on that Twitch, and he's forced, not only he's being led away from the farm, just like that. Okay, he got one, but he can't even retaliate in return.
We have a Rengar coming in, though. The Bolus doesn't quite land, and there's the Valkyrie bringing Fried Sloth back, but there's the secondary Bolus going to be snaring him up there. Exhaust is dropped back by the Thresh onto him, and Rapunzel now might be the one in trouble. Red buff is burning. There's the teleport coming from the top lane, though. Aurelia is on her way. She blade surges forward, and Equilibrium Strike gets her the first blood. Now the counter teleport coming in from Maokai, and this is a hell of action here for both teams. Flash, the exhaust bird to keep Lucas forever alive, and there's the Dark Passage, bringing Aurelia to safety.
Yeah, the ultimate utility from Thresh, doing everything. He saves. Well, perhaps Fried Sloth didn't exactly avail him of Thresh's services, but Thresh himself survived. He helped out Nick Senpai. And it's 1-0 and a lot of summoner spells burned. Are there even any flashes? Yeah, there's one flash on Flayed remaining from that fight, and Rising Star decided not to flash anywhere, but everything else has been burned.
And even though that fight happened in the bottom lane, that is a huge swing for the other side of the map, because both top laners burnt their teleports there, and while Aurelia got first blood, Maokai got nothing. And there's the flag and drag coming in from Jarvan into the middle lane. He does not have red buff this time, but he has the Aegis to slow her down. But Orianna had no mana, and Orianna had next to no health, so didn't want to stick around for that fight.
Yeah, this time this gank isn't as impactful as last time, but Ninjamon is quite low on health. And with Anja still having most of his HP and, well, a decent amount of mana, I'm pretty sure he can still pressure. We don't see Jaikun making a swing into that middle lane anytime soon, and Ninjamon wisely goes back to base. He now has the Chalice of Harmony, got himself some boots, and we'll see how it will fare in the middle lane. Still, it's pretty even. Anja is ahead by just 4 CS. It will certainly change as soon as he goes back to base, and all the other lanes still going quite even. Gold lead on 300 gold is just a difference of 1 kill.
We've got we have a little bit of a fight in the top lane, but it's going to resolve itself fairly anticlimactically, as a lot of top lane fights do. But we also have a lot of vision being battled with around Dragon right now, as we see a little bit of another duel in the top lane that ends as predictably as the last one.
Yeah, just not exactly even, and Rising Star got his level 6 first, I believe. Nixon Pike got his.
I'm a little bit surprised at that, honestly. Aurelia was the one who picked up the first blood there, and both teleports were down, so Maokai didn't really have a quick way back into lane to get that XP. But perhaps, being as far into the utility tree as he is, he has some bonus XP coming out of that.
Experienced runes. No, not really a possibility.
It could be.
Could be.
I didn't look at the rune pages before this game, so it could very well be that he's running experience runes. Probably not, but if so, it's just paid off in a small amount right there.
It's small, yeah. He could have beaten Nixon Pie to level 6, but in the end they sort of got it at pretty much the same time. Now level 7 actually, and the fight begins. Now this
Blade
time for real.
Surge, the ulti burned by Nick Senpai, and Rising Star just gonna walk away and pop some more of those potions, or rather eat some more of those biscuits. And Aurelia gonna get all of her health back from auto attacking, so really there's just a pair of infinitely refilling health bars up in the top lane. It's not actually two champions.
And back and forth.
Oh, the blue buff went to Jarvan by accident as Prince of Vayne is going into ambush. Running forward, he's behind Fried Slot. There's the Valkyrie dodging. The knockup is nice flay and a ton of damage coming out. The exhaust burned on both sides. Meanwhile, up in top lane, we have a little bit of a duel going on, but we're back down in bottom lane. Flayed is not getting flayed. There, he finally gets flayed, and there's the auto attack that follows him, and he gets defeated.
Yeah, his nickname is sort of an instruction versus Precious.
Yes.
Flame. Yeah, just flame me. It happens just like that, and we see that huge damage from Corki. Those spark bombs got Prince of Vayne first, didn't finish him just yet, but flayed.
There's the shockwave. Cataclysm following right up. Flash away, though. And then there's a bunch of ultis burned and nothing happening.
Yeah, well, at least now NJ has a bit of safety with his intervention, but he certainly won't be able to use it every single time. And Prince of Vayne still trying to farm just a little bit, and now the difference in farm starting to show in a bottom lane.
Yeah.
Plus that kill.
Those phosphorus bombs really hurt. And without Janna around to toss a shield on him every time they're thrown out like that, he took a lot of harass, but Rengar really wants this game going with the red buff. There's the hook. Landing on a Prince of Vayne, the box as well. Rapunzel nearly doing enough damage to bring it down himself. There's the heal pop to survive that last rocket from Fried Sloth. And this Twitch is just too far behind. Rengar can't even get a gank off in a 2v3. I mean, Jarvan showed up at the end, but he was just there for a passing glance. He didn't actually do much.
Well, thankfully for Corki, he still has some of that safety, in addition to Thresh, of course, the Valkyrie helping him get out of sticky situations. But yeah, that almost has turned once again in favor of Requiem. Could have ended badly for at least 3 people, but the safety of the turret and the... Well, it's not that explosive just yet, but Corki has now got himself that sheen, still inching forwards towards the 24s. In the top lane we see the same for Nick Senpai, who goes on Rising Star.
Yeah, Rising Star getting brought down to half health in that trade. He is Maokai, so given time he will regain all of those hit points, but Nick Senpai might not want to give him that time.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, while the Xenon Gaming Prime team isn't that tanky, when Maokai gets tanky, he's really tanky. I mean, tanking 5 members at a time for a minute.
Good lord, the damage from Nick Senpai is just suddenly here. Buying that sheen has just made the Aurelia's damage show up out of nowhere, and Jarvan does not quite get the gank he wanted.
Yeah, and it's not like Rising Star can retaliate in any way. Flash out, but that's just a waste flash.
Yeah, that was... Perhaps he should have waited and used the flash to actually dodge one of the blades, but I think even then Aurelia still had a blade or 2 left to fire out there, so he was just caught in a bad situation. And there was very little way out of it.
In the mid lane,
shockwave landing, the exhaust dropped as well, and here's the gank from Yaikun. He's going in, the invulnerability is not going to last long enough. Jarvan has slain Kayle, and there's... Oh lord, those rockets hurt.
They absolutely do, and perhaps this is one of the reasons why Kayle isn't that popular. I believe the last time she was nerfed, the main focus of the nerf was the duration of that intervention, and this time we've seen that on being only level 1, for putting only 1 point in that skill, the ultimate is really short. So yeah, it saved NJ just a bit, but there was plenty of time for Jaikun and Ninjaman to finish her up.
And I mean, we're looking at this bot lane here, and we see Fried Sloth firing out rockets that seem to be chunking away a 5th or a 6th of Twitch's hit points. But, to be fair, Corki does not scale quite as well into the late game as a Twitch does. Especially not a Twitch with a Kayle on his side. So, if they can stall this game out, which is a big if, because they are 3k behind at only 12 minutes into the game, that's a pretty big deal. But if they can stall this game out, they do have a pretty decent chance of playing a protect the Twitch comp and having him press R and then right click on the enemy team. Because of the enemy team comp, they're going to want to be grouped up, and we have 2 invisible members of the enemy team running in. They have a cat and a rat, and they're trying to bring down Thresh, but Lucas Forever is getting burned away by this damage from the Corki. The rocket doesn't land, but the auto attack does. Now there's a teleport coming from the top lane, and Nick Senpai is on a killing spree, and Prince of Vayne has nowhere to run. There's even a pink ward there. He can't turn it.
The whole Requiem team went to the bottom lane and used everything that they have at their disposal perfectly. and even with that attempted gank, we've seen that immediately, Lux Ferrer goes in, but Prince of Vane can't do anything. He was forced to stay on the outside of that team fight for pretty much the whole fight. Perhaps he got a couple of attacks in, but it just couldn't help, and Corki immediately destroys everything that comes near, and Lux Ferrer isn't tanky just yet. And Jag will be dying once again.
They're going for the tower dive, but Yakun's in a little bit of trouble here. Rengar has shown up, tosses out the balls, but it gets flashed.
The only saving grace for ZN Gaming Prime is Rising Star getting that top lane. He is still a bit behind in farm, certainly behind in kills, and with Aurelia already having that Trinity Force. Actually, Jakun grabbing a blue buff. Did Orianna grab hers? Yeah, apparently Orianna grabbed hers from that Gak on the bottom lane.
Yeah. You mentioned the Triforce in passing that the Aurelia picked up, but I think it deserves a little bit more than a passing mention, because that is a Trinity Force on Aurelia before 15 minutes. That is a big deal. She's going to be able to instantly delete this Twitch. Twitch has absolutely no way of dealing with that unless he can manage to turn invisible in time, which, since the nerfs to ambush, is going to be a little bit difficult to do.
Well, you've said there's Anjai, but unfortunately, intervention can only protect one member of the team, and it's up to Requiem to pick the right member, to force that intervention out, and then immediately refocus on the other targets. And we've seen that they can do that in the bottom lane, so I'm pretty sure they will be able to do that in 5 versus 5 team fights.
And they know they have the lead right now, and they don't want this game to go to the late game. They really don't, because if they do pull this out to like 5 or 6 item builds really late into the game, the Kale Twin combo by itself is enough to be scary. And Prince of Vane, what are you doing there? Oh, good God, he has absolutely nowhere to go. Phosphorus Bomb, rockets, chunking away his health. Fried Sloth on a killing spree.
Yeah, and just a minute before that, Rapunzel actually tried to do a blind flay, trying to catch Rapunzel, trying to catch Prince of Vane's Twitch. I'm actually checking if there are any wards that could have... Well, there's one pink ward, I'm not exactly sure when that was placed. Whoop, mid lane.
Just a quick little 1-2 under the tower there from Orianna, going to be bringing Kale right down.
And Jay couldn't even use his ultimate, or it unfortunately came just as he was dying. Not sure about that, but it's still in the place. Yet another turret down in favor of Requiem. And they're making a quick work of this ZN Gaming Prime team.
Yeah, they're making sure to make use of this advantage they have. They're not just going to sit on their gold and stick around in the laning phase. No, they're going to bring a bunch of people to mid lane and take that turret after taking Dragon and make sure that they have vision control deep in the enemy jungle. They've got... The enemy side of the jungle there is lit up bright blue, and their own jungle has a single ward in it.
Well, perhaps it'll help him in some way, but as of now, I don't think so. In top lane, I'm pretty sure yet another turret will fall down, extending that gold lead to quite unfathomable more than 7k before 17 minutes. It's just a death wish. Yep, Nick Senpai going once again on Rising Star.
And I think that was a little bit of a mistake there, doing the arcane smash that he did right before the Equilibrium Strike landed. Because if he hadn't done that, Nick Senpai would not have gotten the stun from Equilibrium Strike. But because he dealt a little bit of damage to the Aurelia was technically on a lower percentage of health than Maokai, and got the stun and so could do half of Rising Star's health, just with a few quick auto attacks.
Yeah, well, I guess the only saving grace right now for ZN Gaming Prime would be to turtle it out, get Rising Star to his tanking, capability, to I guess at this point NJ will be just forced into that sort of supporty role, which is dishing out the ultimate, if indeed they want to play the protected Twitch comp. Twitch thankfully has got himself that Blade of Rune King, so there's a bit of a bump in his power, but he's still a long way. He is behind by 40 CS and behind Fried Sloth, and it doesn't look as it's about to change anytime soon. We see that there's only 3 kills, but only in addition 3 assists, and gold-wise, if we check that, It's
And
2k in the lead for Frapsel.
Requiem here, they have perfect control of this map. They were at the dragon the second before it spawned, and there's Shockwave catching on the Flayed. Monsoon to try and keep himself alive, he flashes away as well, but Friedsloth is on a rampage, and he is not going to be able to stop that. Rapunzel now looking for the hook onto Rising Star over the wall. Nice dodge with that speed buff from Kale, but the Flay lands onto Lucas forever, and Prince of Vane is getting chunked down as well. Flag and Dragon knock them both up. Rising Star is here, but there is a Cataclysm keeping all of Xenon Gaming locked up and bringing them down.
Well, I thought that Flayed, okay, he saved the rest of the team by sacrificing himself. Yeah, the Monsoon is great, but it leaves you just standing in a place. Not that cool, but they've managed to grab Prince of Vane, the Rising Star. Did Lucas Ferrer die? I believe he died as well. It's just too much damage. And Jaikun, there's really great synergy between Jaikun's Cataclysm and Friedsloth. Well, I guess everything. Just having those targets in a tight spot where, of course, there's nowhere for them to move, amplifies Friedsloth damage. He just needs to aim into the Cataclysm. He doesn't need to aim at the enemy champions. It works quite well. 4th kill for him. Yes, Xenon Gaming Prime claw back 1 kill, but they need to do more than that to get back into this game.
We see the red buff going over to Corki. That's not really too surprising. He's been certainly carrying his own weight, if not more. 4-0-4 score not found. And, well, Flayed is going to take out some of the wards in the jungle. They are doing a decent effort at clearing out the wards wherever they can. They're trying to regain vision control, but it's a bit of an uphill battle at this point, since they have to choose either between having vision control and having the risk of getting caught out right here, like Rapunzel landing the hook onto Flayed, flaying him backwards as well, and Oriana is here doing chunks of damage.
A third of health to no health in a blink of an eye. Floyd, yes, he tries to help out his team somewhat. Prince of Vane, again, going back in, but just compare the hit points. Something tells me that if Rapunzel wanted to, he could have killed Prince of Vane easily.
Well, I don't know that he could have killed him, but he's certainly so tanky that he can stick around long enough that here's the Corki to show up and back him up. Lucas forever now getting burned down in a 1v2. It doesn't matter that Maokai's ulti is running, and Ninjamon gonna flash over the wall to escape there. Is now Rising Star is the one getting burned down. He has Kale ult, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Double kill for Oriana as Corki finishes off the Twitch down in the side.
Yeah, that Cataclysm was a bit amiss, but I'm pretty sure that Requiem won't worry about that too much. Yet another turret going down, and with 3 in the middle, 2 in the bottom lane, we'll be looking at 2 turrets and a dead KO. Yep, there we go.
This game has just been played very textbook ever since its beginning. They realize exactly how their comp works and what their win conditions are against the enemy team's comp specifically. And they are enacting on those very, very well, getting as much pressure as they possibly can across the map. They have wards in the enemy team's base right now, though perhaps not for long.
Not anymore.
But they are able to place them over the wall. They're that far pressured. At 21 minutes, they have pushed up to 2 inhibitor towers. They have taken every dragon that has spawned. They are very much in control of this game, and it's going to be so hard for Xenon Gaming to claw their way back.
Yeah, they need one team fight. No, actually, I'm not sure if they can even start with that one team fight. Yeah, there's a surrender.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the Twitch chat has been spoiling it for us for the past couple of minutes after the victors of this game have come in, but it's expected. 17-1 at 22 minutes.